Inspiration from this rant is Youth Participation in Injury and Risk in Martial Arts, published online November 28, 2016, in Pediatrics, the official journal of the American Academy of Pediatrics. I'm not affiliated with them. They don't know me, etc., etc. But they decided to pick on adults because they couldn't find kids. But what did they find? They found something that someone on YouTube who's a lot more popular than me, we know, has been saying for years, and they got him banned. And that's that MMA is the worst sport for adults and probably kids too. With no reported pediatric injury studies in the literature regarding MMA, all documented injury information is from professional adult matches. Overall risk has been reported as 85.1 to 228.7 per 1,000 athletic exposures, much higher than that reported in other contact sports such as collegiate football. So this is even worse than Olympic Taekwondo. 8.1 per 1,000 athletic exposures. In a 5-year review of sanctioned adult MMA fights, the injury risk over the reported 5 years was 23.6 per 100 fights participants. Now, if you want to call each fight an athletic exposure and make it to the 1,000 comparison, we move that decimal point over 1 to the right, and that's 236 per 1,000 athletic exposure. That's even worse. That's even worse than the rate they're trying to give you from MMA. That's way worse than Olympic Taekwondo, where they're trying to take each other's heads off. Now, I started off paraphrasing, but I end with a quote in this middle part of the graphic here. Since 33% of matches ended by TKO in one study, they think that there may be a concussion. This is just concussion, mind you. Concussion rate of 48.3 per 1,000 athletic exposures. Now, that may not sound like a lot. This sounds like it's only about 4.8%. Is what that? Yeah, that would be about 4.8%. That's still kind of a lot, though. That's a lot, in my opinion, to risk. That's a lot for a concussion risk. Concussion is brain damage. Remember that. Also, and I quote, the rate of injury was 2 times higher in amateurs than professional fighters in another study. A losing fighter was 2.35 times more likely to be injured than a winning fighter. Now, people, we know that all sports carry some risk of injury. You can be playing a pickup basketball game with the kindest people on earth, turn the wrong way and hurt your knee. We know that. But if you're going to do MMA, you may be tempted to think like I was, that I would just do amateurs if I do it, because that's got to be safer than pros. No. And I think, this is my opinion here, and I think amateurs are probably more dangerous than pros, because you got people going into the amateurs that aren't all that skilled. If you look at a lot of your pro fighters, especially the ones that I look up to, typically have a black belt in a grappling discipline and a black belt in a striking discipline at a minimum, or some type of equivalent. They tend not to lean too heavily on one or the other. Amateurs probably don't have both because they're amateurs. They don't have the time to train to develop that type of repertoire. And they may not have been training since they could walk, since they were very little, where they picked up a Kung Fu black belt at 6 and maybe a Taekwondo black belt at 10, and then a Judo or Jiu-Jitsu black belt by the time they got to be about 19 or 20 or something like that. And they took in some time in a boxing gym too, so they're all well-rounded. So, you people who wants to keeps it real, breaking my English on purpose, you wants to do MMA because you think that, oh, the pajama stuff is, that's not for real, man. MMA. Go ahead and get that concussion, player. Now, I'm not trying to rag on the pros, because you know what? Pros get paid. Pros get paid. This their job to risk concussion. If it's not your job to risk concussion, why are you risking concussion? Peace.